Hello, everyone. Good evening or good afternoon, wherever you're at. Najumu here, and once again, as with every week, we are back with TYRION CUTHBERT, attorney of the ARCANE. So, a bit of a recap on what happened. We started chapter 4, and in this chapter, we managed to learn that Beatrice, who is the person who was framed, or maybe is an accomplice, or is maybe the one who actually killed her own father. And apparently we're going to actually, let me see if I remember, because it has been quite a while. So in this case, we tried to figure out that Beatrice's family is, well, outside of her relationship with her sisters, is not very good, especially when it comes to her father. And he figured out that she was not useful for him, to say the least. So he written her out of her inheritance, and that is the prosecution's reason why she was framed in killing her dad. But once we actually did our investigation, there was a clear sign that she was an accomplice, not technically the one who directly killed her father, but we'll have to wait and see. Because right now, we have Tyrion trying to counter his God, why am I so terrible at explaining things? He's trying to counter his mentor, Ruby, who was defending Beatrice regarding this case. And so we'll have to see what kind of evidence that Tyrion has that actually implicates that Beatrice was involved with the case. Yeah, hopefully that was a little bit hopefully that was pretty decent explanation on what happened so far. But yeah, without further ado, let's have the game continue the story for us. Alrighty. And we are back in the courtroom. Okay, so remember that Tyrion is a defense attorney, and he just like bolted off to the prosecution stand because, you know, Arya Steelwind had a lot of injuries. We don't know who injured her, and she fainted. So now he's trying to figure things out and probably reveal the truth of the whole situation. We'll have to wait and see if the clash is going to be super interesting or not. Your Honor, the defense, the prosecution, I would like the right to cross-examine this witness. Bailiff, please arrest Mr. Cuthbert. I am holding him in contempt of court. Oh, wait! You didn't really think this through, did you? Instead of following his orders, the bailiff walks over to the judge's podium and whispers something into his ear. What? I see. Very well, then. What are they saying? It appears that Miss Steelwind has somehow predicted that this would happen. In accordance with her wishes, Mr. Cuthbert may act as the prosecutor in her stead. What the hell? You can't be serious. I'm honestly just as surprised as you are, Miss Tamora. But Miss Steelwind has apparently designated him as her stand-in. It's unorthodox, but it is also legal. I recall something strange Steelwind asked you earlier today. So, what would you do if one of your clients was guilty? I suppose I'd withdraw and tell them to find another lawyer. And if no one would represent them? I don't know. It'd definitely be a hard choice for me. But I would never be able to represent them if I knew the truth. just can't stand by and let a murderer escape justice. I see. Steelwind. Did she somehow know this would happen? Well, this isn't how I expected the trial to go. Shortly after you barged onto the prosecutor's table, Celeste awkwardly followed behind you. Curiously, she only did so after the bailiff didn't arrest you. I guess we're really doing this. What's wrong? This feels weird. We're on the other side of the courtroom. I mean, this is where the prosecutor is supposed to stand. No, this feels way too jarring. Ruby, can we switch tables? What? Please ignore her. No, this is way too weird. Tyrion, get her to switch with us. Celeste? For the love of... I genuinely do not care. Cuthbert can have his side if he wants it so badly. With that out of the way, let's resume proceedings. Assuming that we're all at our preferred spots. We are, Your Honor. God damn it, Celeste, why are you like this? As much as you hate to admit it, you are more comfortable here. Not that you want to encourage her. With all these interruptions, I think it's best to review the proceedings up until now. The prosecution proposed that Beatrice Frega's motive for the murder was to claim the victim's inheritance. However, the defense brought forth a witness who testified that Beatrice was disinherited by her father 5 years ago. Am I correct, Miss Timora? You are, Your Honor. Very well. Considering the circumstances, I think it's best to have Lady Frega repeat her testimony. Bailiff, please escort Lady Frega to the stand once more. Miss Frega, could you please give your testimony to the court once more? Of course. One day, we all woke up and discovered that Beatrice had fled from our home. She left a note for us, and in it she renounced her name and denounced my father. My father later called me and my sister into his study. He told us that he'd completely disowned Beatrice and removed any claim she had to the Frega estate. It was probably a threat to us in case we ever chose to go down the same path she did. He wanted to make an example out of her. This all happened 5 years ago. So your father disinherited Beatrice shortly after her departure? Yes, he did. As such, Beatrice would have no motive to murder her father. Any inheritance she could have received would have been long gone by the night of the murder. Is that really true, though? Okay, let's see. It must have been a surprise for all of you. Did she tell anyone else about her plan? No, she didn't. She left without a word to anyone. She should have spoken with us first. It appears that she is sincere about what she's saying. From what I've heard about your father, I don't find that surprising. It's clear to everyone involved that my client was not treated well by her father. That's what drove her to sacrifice her claim to the Frega estate. My father had many responsibilities. He had much to consider. And that justified his treatment of your sister? Despite being her witness, Miss Timora really isn't holding back against Miriam. That seems like a drastic reaction to her simply leaving her home. My father and sister had already had many disagreements before this. He made it clear that he wouldn't tolerate her many acts of insubordination. I imagined that this was the last straw for him. Well, that sounds in character for him. Would William Frege really do something so extreme? Regardless of his personal feelings, House Frege holds a lot of financial and political power. Did he really change his inheritance so haphazardly? That must have been difficult for you and Leif. It was. My father wanted everything to be his way. Anyone who didn't comply was punished. That's a terrible way to treat anyone, much less his own family. If this happened shortly after Beatrice fled, you must have been less than 13 years old at the time. Can't imagine how that must have been. But can we really trust your testimony if you were a child at the time? I remember it vividly. My father's words, the look on Leif's face when she realized Beatrice was gone. I even remember the way the sun was shining through that window that morning. It was all my fault. I remember that moment with clarity. My father made sure of that. It sounds like a painful memory for her. She seems to falsely blame herself for what happened. It'd be best not to press her more than necessary. You felt it while you were watching it from the gallery. Part of her testimony doesn't match with what you've learned from your investigation. Must have been something that Leif told you. Okay, so let's look at our evidence. So Leif's testimony mentioned, after his meeting with Beatrice Frege, William Frege retreated into his study and locked himself in the study. He refused to speak with almost everyone who tried to disturb him. The only person he spoke to was Leif Frege. She told him about the theft of the sword of spell eating a little after 1 a.m. But William didn't seem to care and returned to his business. Through Leif's thought, you know that he entered the study to make some adjustment to his will. Oh, oops, I pressed her again. Let's see. Let's try again. Move any claim. Can we actually present this? Probably wouldn't work, but we'll see. Objection! Yeah, it won't work. Let's see. On the night of the murder, Beatrice arranged with her father. The meeting didn't end as planned. Beatrice angered William Frege enough for him to declare he'd be disinheriting her that night. Ah, okay. It happened that night, though. Yeah, this should be the contradiction, right? Objection. There we go, yes. Miss Frege, it's clear that you're regretful of how your eldest sister was treated. That guilt must have eaten you for all these years. Cuthbert, I know you don't have a good history with the witness, but you shouldn't rub salt in her wounds. I was merely pointing out that the witness' personal connection to the defendant, Miss Tamora. She clearly regrets not standing up for her sister all those years ago. So perhaps she's trying to make up for that by lying to protect her. Excuse me? I did nothing of the sort. Miss Frege, you testified that your father disinherited Beatrice 5 years ago. However, I have testimony from another witness who spoke with the victim on the night of the murder. After Beatrice's meeting with William Frege, he openly declared that he would be removing her from his will. He even entered his study to draft a new will to reflect that decision. So that raises the following question. Why would the victim need to declare that he was disinheriting the defendant? Doesn't make sense if he had already disinherited her 5 years ago. Is that so? Well, Who did you hear this from? It's clear they had no understanding of my father's estate. They had no understanding? Miriam, this testimony came directly from your sister, Leifrega. What? And she should have also been present during the alleged meeting 5 years ago. Well, she must be mistaken then.
Objection.
Your Honor, how can we trust this second-hand testimony from a witness who isn't here? Wouldn't it make it more sense to have Leif give her testimony directly? I must agree with you, Miss Tamora. Leifrega should be allowed to clear up this misunderstanding. She looks way too confident. What is she planning? You're not sure if it was intentional, but Miriam's testimony was false. Could she be lying to protect Beatrice? And if so, is Miss Tamora expecting Leif to do the same? Bailiff, please escort Leifrega to the stand. Miss Frega, when we spoke earlier, you mentioned that your father decided to disinherit Beatrice. And he decided this after their meeting on the night of the murder. Is that correct? Yes, I did say that. You see, Leif, Cuthbert doubts the testimony given by your younger sister. He seems to think that she committed perjury. But I wouldn't go so far as to say, witness, lying under oath is a serious crime. Would have harsh consequences, even for someone of your sister's status. No, she couldn't have. Wonderful. Are you saying that you can corroborate your sister's testimony? Miss Tamora, you can't just intimidate the witness. I have no idea what you're talking about, Cuthbert. I'm just telling the witness what may or may not happen depending on what she does next. The choice is ultimately hers. So, Leif, assuming Miriam wasn't lying under oath, could you please testify to the court to confirm what your sister said? Yes, of course. You see, Miriam was quite young when my father called us into his study 5 years ago. She didn't understand what he was really doing. My father would often lie to us. It was one of the many ways that he kept us in line. The encounter that Miriam described was just another of his lies. Despite their disagreements, my father would never disinherit Beatrice without a good reason. He always held on to the possibility that she would become desperate enough to return home. The truth is that none of us knew what my father was planning for House Frega's future. See, Cuthbert? The truth is much more complicated. No one could have really known what William Frega was planning for his estate. Leif is definitely trying to cover for Miriam. Miss Tamora is playing her like a fiddle. Luckily for you, she's not the only person that gave her statement to you. Alright, time for the cross-examination. So you're saying that Miriam's testimony was based on a misunderstanding? Yes. My father was never direct with his actions. He always knew just what to say to plant the seeds of doubt into people's minds. I'm aware of how it sounds, but he had much to consider outside of his family. The Fregas are one of the pillars of Rivengard, after all. Keeping the family aligned with our house's goals was one of his responsibilities. It's clear she doesn't agree with what she's saying. Is she in denial? Or is she trying to keep the family's name clean? So, you really think that your father would lie about something so important? It was of great importance. That's why he had to lie. He wanted to make Miriam understand the consequences of disobeying him. What kind of father does that? But if he truly wanted to scare Miriam, why wouldn't he disinherit Beatrice? even after she renounced her name and denounced him? My father was always more pragmatic than vengeful. I imagined that he expected her to fall on her own. If she ever came back, she would be forced to rely on him. It could make someone like Beatrice feel powerless. It could get the rest of us to fall in line. Looking back, I suppose that's all we were ever to him. Assets to be appraised and traded. You hear a bit of resentment in her voice. If that were true, why would he tell you that he was disinheriting Beatrice? Perhaps it was a warning. I had my own share of disagreements with him after all. Even now, I have no way of knowing if he was telling me the truth or not. That would depend on what Miss Tamora and Beatrice discussed with Lord Freyja. Right now, you still have no idea what they even talked about. Did William Freyja really lie to them? What we've heard, I honestly wouldn't put it past him. He clearly had very little respect for his daughters. But there were other people that he did respect. Right. Was there anyone else that he would have told the truth to? Oh, hey, Rayquaza, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Let's look at our evidence again. He probably talked about... Maybe he did talk to Von Sanctus about this. Let's see. None of us knew? He probably knew though, right? There we go, yes. I'm good. How about you? I am doing pretty great. We're now having this courtroom battle between mentor and student, which is pretty fun. It's, you know, the very fun part of games like this where roles are switched is pretty fun. Like, let me give you a good example. Something like in Ace Attorney 3, Trials and Tribulations, where I don't know if I can actually spoil this or not, but there was a point of time where a certain character switched roles, and you actually get to see them as someone they're not when it comes to their position in the court. Yeah, I just want to make sure, because there's still probably people who didn't play like the Ace Attorney games, but yeah. And for those who are curious, it was the last case of that game, and the biggest one. Miss Freyja, did you really have no idea about House Freyja's future? No, I didn't. My father made sure of that. As I told you, he kept many secrets and wasn't above lying to manipulate us. But with Beatrice gone, you would have been the one to inherit your father's estate. Oh yeah, I think I remember that, because yeah, it was a wild case. It was a wild case, and probably like easily top 3 in the entire franchise, to say the least. Would you really be ignorant of your father's plan for House Freyja? Unfortunately for you, I don't think you'd be that careless. In fact, I have it on good authority that you knew exactly how William's inheritance would be divided before that night. What? Leif, according to Lloyd von Sanctus, you arranged into a diplomatic marriage with his son. You expressed resistance to this arrangement. Am I correct? I have no reason to comment on that matter. Cuthbert, the witness's personal matters are hardly any of our business. Yes, I must ask that you keep this discussion relevant to the case. Your Honor, Leif's resistance to this marriage is exactly how I know that her testimony is false. She was extremely averse to this marriage, and because of that, she made sure to know every detail about how it would affect her and her house. That includes how House Frege would be inherited by her future husband. So that raises the question, Leif. If you already knew the intricate details of this marriage, why would your father tell you that he was disinheriting your sister? That statement would only make sense if Beatrice was already in his will beforehand. That would render Miriam's testimony false and constitute a motive for the defendant.
Objection.
You present a decent argument, Cuthbert, but your claims rely on one assumption. What assumption would that be, Miss Tamora? Even if he was lying, the victim declared that he was revoking Beatrice's inheritance. She must have already been named in the will previously. Otherwise, there would have been no need for him to say that. Wouldn't make any sense otherwise. And that's where your assumption is. You're assuming that William Frege was acting logically. What are you talking about? It's clear that William Frege was extremely controlling of his daughters. By your own admission, Leif Frege was resistant to the marriage arranged by her father. In addition to that, a few months ago, Miriam Frege found herself wrapped in controversy regarding the Nightgrave trial. And finally, to make matters worse, Beatrice Frege, the prodigal child, finally returned and made a public appearance during the Lord's Ball. What are you trying to insinuate? In his eyes, William Frege's ability to keep his daughters in line was clearly weakening. He must have gotten desperate and made a grand declaration in a feeble attempt to scare you, Leif. Even if that declaration was clearly inconsistent. But he wouldn't. Your ability to remember must have been muddled by the shock of your father's death. The statement couldn't have possibly been true. If by some chance it were true, that would make you guilty of perjury. Or perhaps it was Miriam that was lying in her testimony. If your father's statement were true, the court might be inclined to investigate her for lying on the stand. Miss Tamora, are you threatening her? As I said before, I am merely stating the facts. The witness is free to act as she sees fit. Just asking her to consider the potential consequences of what she says next. What do I do? Damn it, she's pressuring Leif to side with her. She's clearly conflicted though. Isn't there anything you can do? You feel a sense of clarity when you look at her. Is the eye of Horus reacting to her stress? You wonder. I'm sorry. I need time to think. Please don't stare at me like that, Mr. Cuthbert. Wait a minute. No! Wait! It's too late.
Naught can remain concealed.
Empowered Eye. You did it. You activated the Empowered Eye. There has to be something in her mind that you can use. The state of her father's inheritance is the backbone of your case. Is there anything in her mind that can definitely prove what was on his will? Okay, let's see. Can you present this? As much as I hate to admit it, this trial is a perfect opportunity to back out of the arranged marriage. While Sanctus's holdings are weakening by the day, I doubt they'll be able to put up much resistance. Once Beatrice inherits the estate, we might be able to rebuild our family. She's assuming that Beatrice will inherit House Frege. The confidence must mean that she's certain of what was in William's will. Would you prove that? I need to make sure that I tell the truth without harming Miriam or Beatrice. Beatrice couldn't have possibly done this. I'm sure Miriam has her reasons. They couldn't rely on me back then, but they can now. We didn't get any leads from that. Should try something else. Oh, okay. We already done that. Maybe this? Oh, it's the same. Let's see. Give her this? What? Why am I thinking about this? Alright, that didn't work. Beatrice, after all these years, you finally returned. I can't believe this is how things have ended up. Only I was strong as you. I'd be able to endure this. Alright. What do we have here? What else can we actually use to extract more information from her mind? Father, I know we had our differences, but I did love you, and I never wanted you to die. She seems to be genuinely surprised and regretful about his death. From your encounter earlier, you know that Beatrice had an accomplice. You doubt that it's Leif. Okay. Oh yeah, that didn't work. Let's see. Present herself? Okay, we already did that. Why would Miriam say those things? Am I misremembering what happened? No, I would have remembered something like that. She must have been trying to protect Beatrice. So Miriam's testimony was a conscious lie. Beatrice's inheritance wasn't revoked until the night of the murder. Alright, let's see who else. Von Sanctus? Nah. What else can we actually show? Let's check the spells? Nah, probably not. Maybe this? Nah. Alright, let's see. What else? Sword? How did both of the swords find their way into Beatrice's room? Could Tracker have? No. McCoy's sword is one thing. He couldn't have possibly broken into the Haraldson gallery. Although, he was extremely fixated on it. Tracker? Who the heck is Tracker? What? Does she know how Celeste's sword was taken? As much as you want to follow that lead, it will be all for nothing if you can't turn the trial in your favor. You try something else, but Tracker. I wonder who that Tracker person is. Oh, we can't present that. Ooh, the armbands of intellect? No, we can't give her that. Let's see. Nah, Jan isn't gonna work. Can we actually present a picture of our father? See what happens. Nah, it's different. Of herself, maybe? No, we already tried that. Let's see. Harold? No, we can't give her Harold. Yeah, we already showed the autopsy, so that's not gonna work. Bring Celeste's sword? Nah, it's both the same. Okay. Nah. We're just like trying everything right now. What about this? No. Maybe we could show her Ruby? Ruby Tamora. I've heard stories about her. Never expected Beatrice to hire someone like her. Wonder if she'll be at the will reading tomorrow. Will reading? She must be talking about William Frega's will. Oh, there we go. I believe you had enough time for deliberation, Mr. Cuthbert. Are you able to prove the defendant's motive or not? I'm not, Your Honor. At least, not yet. It's clear we won't get anywhere until we confirm the state of William Frega's will. And we can easily confirm that tomorrow morning, when William Frega's will is read to his family. How did you... I see. Once his will is read, it will become public record. I suppose I have no choice but to suspend this trial until such time that William Frega's will is read.
Objection.
This is ludicrous. The case against my client is completely outrageous. We spent the entire court proceedings arguing if her motive even exists. Prosecution has very little evidence that physically implicates my client. Miss Tamora, you clearly don't believe that the defendant had anything to do with the murder. Of course I don't. She's completely innocent. Well, if your client didn't murder the victim, who did? You sneaky little... Your Honor, with no other suspects, are you in position to pass a verdict? No, I am not. Mr. Cuthbert is correct. The court does not have enough information to pass a verdict. Until the Inquisition has time to investigate these new developments, I will be suspending today's trial. We will resume the trial tomorrow afternoon. Court is adjourned. Ah. Well, that happened. Sorry. I kind of acted without thinking. But out of everything that happened today, I can't believe that Steelwind somehow knew you would do that. Right. That is strange. Did she seriously predict what I'd do off of that one conversation? Considering how things turned out, you suppose she was right on the mark. That was still a big leap of faith. Anyways, we have some time to ourselves. I'd very much like to catch up on some sleep. Yeah, the day has been exhausting for a lot of reasons. Your work has only started. You still have no idea who Beatrice's accomplice was. Will reading was just an opportunity to stall for time. So the question remains, who really murdered William Frege? What the hell was that? Why is your son filling in for Arya? Listen, I have the situation under control. If that's true, I'd hate to see a situation you consider out of control. Eris, my father is not pleased with today's developments. You promised that the verdict would be passed before William Frege's will became public record. This has thrown quite the wrench in our plans. I understand. Cuthbert is just confused. He's not a threat to us. We'd better hope you're right, Timora. Or else your poor ward might suffer the same fate as Prosecutor Steelwind. What? House Frigga is too important of a prize for us to let go. Bring us results, Timora, or else we'll continue to take more drastic measures. Oh yeah, I figured Eris is not gonna be up to anything good. Whew. Man, well, I guess we're back to the investigation phase. For the first time since the Lord's Ball, I'm finally able to get some sleep. I woke this morning refreshed, but also a little anxious about the results of the will reading. I arrive back at Frigga Manor and see that Beatrice, Leif, Miriam, and Von Sanctus have all gathered, along with Miss Timora, who's accompanying Beatrice as her attorney. You're not really sure what to say to her after everything you've done. The air still feels too awkward to approach her and talk about it. Thank you all for coming here today. As William Frigga's close associate, I must express my deepest condolences for your loss. I think I speak for all of Wyverngard when I say... Enough. Just get on with it. Very well then. To get straight to the point, Lord Frigga's will was magically sealed when it was given to me. He asked me, his executor, not to submit it to the courts for probate until after his death. Although I imagine none of us expected such a time to come so unexpectedly. Anyways, Lord Frigga's assets include sole ownership of several banking houses throughout Wyverngard, 10 million gold in various investments. 10 million? 10 million gold? Can't even begin to imagine what anyone could do with even a fraction of that wealth. And lastly, sole control and ownership of the Frigga noble house. The executor takes out a large envelope and uses a runestone to dispel the magical seal on it. I, William Frigga, being a being of sound mind and body, do hereby declare this to my last will and testament. I hereby give, devise, and bequeath all of my assets, property, both real and personal, to Jaden von Sanctus. What? Bro, you can't be serious. You can't be serious. You're giving it to this schmuck's son? God damn. That's messed up. Surely he has to be behind this. He has to be behind this, 100%. Yeah, I'm not believing this. I'm not believing this for 1 second. Provided that he enters a legal and binding engagement with my daughter, Leif Frigga, within 6 months of the date of my death. Oh, now he's forcing the marriage on Leif. What? That's... William must have added that addendum to prevent Von Sanctus from trying to steal his empire. Well, that addendum makes a lot of sense. Because if it wasn't there, I would have been like, what the hell? Are you serious, old man? But a legal and binding engagement is predicated on Leif accepting it. She clearly doesn't want to go through it. So if she simply waited 6 months, Von Sanctus wouldn't have any claim to the estate. Hey, stranger, welcome. Howdy, hope you're doing well. In the event that Jaden von Sanctus does not enter such an engagement within the specified time frame, my assets and property shall be distributed as such. All of House Frigga will be divided equally among my children, as per the laws of our kingdom. You were right. William Frigga never disinherited Beatrice. This would make Miriam's testimony false. And since Beatrice would receive a portion of William's inheritance, she had a motive to commit the murder. I glance at Miriam. It's hard to read her expression, but something appears to be on her mind. Without a word, she walks out of the room, ignoring both Beatrice and Leif. Leif, on the other hand, seems to be in good spirits. Isn't that great, Beatrice? You can lead House Frigga now. just as it should have been. Actually, about that, in light of recent events, I believe I should clarify one thing. As per the Slayer rule, if Beatrice Frege is found guilty in the current court case, her inheritance will be revoked and divided between you and your sister. I see. Shouldn't feel happy for myself. How are you, buddy? I'm doing pretty great. We finally had a bit of a clash at the court earlier, but now we're reading The Inheritance of William Frege and trying to discover who actually did murder him. That can't be all, can it? Surely William added a note of Leif's obligation to marry my son. I'm not sure what you're trying to imply. Leif Frege is an adult with legal autonomy. She's free to make whatever decision she wishes about who she legally marries. Now, if you'll excuse me... Wait! We're not finished yet! Come back here! I'd love to catch with you, Leif, but I was only allowed out of my cell to attend the reading. Isn't this the game where the blind girl got framed? You got it! You got it, and now we're back to investigating and seeing who is the real murderer of William Frege, aka her dad. But she had a part of the murder, but we don't know what it is exactly. She didn't directly commit the murder, but she was an accomplice. How? We'll just have to find out. You notice an Inquisition knight outside of the door. He seems to be waiting for Beatrice intently. But don't worry, I'm sure once this misunderstanding is resolved, we can talk all we want about our family's future. Of course. A group of knights lead Beatrice out of the manor, and Leif follows after them, leaving you and Celeste alone with Miss Timora. If I remember correctly, I found your channel while you're streaming this. Yes, exactly. Exactly. About what I did. Look, I'm not angry, Cuthbert. It was an extremely unforeseen situation, and Steelwind clearly put you on the spot. You felt pressured to do something, and you made a rash decision. But I'm sure the court will understand if you withdraw. Wait, what? Cuthbert, you're not a prosecutor. You know that, right? Didn't you become an attorney to defend persecuted mages? But Beatrice is guilty. I saw it. I'm not going to argue about this again. You are going to withdraw. This is not up for discussion. Always regarded and respected Miss Timora. Do you suppose that's always made you deeply scared of disappointing her? Perhaps she's right. She knows more about what's going on than you do, and she's still your mentor. You want to believe that. You really do. But deep down, you know that this is wrong. Miss Timora may believe in Beatrice's innocence, but you can't just abandon this case and let her escape justice. Your hands are trembling. Why are you so scared right now? You know what you have to say, but the words won't leave your mouth. From behind you, you feel Celeste holding your trembling hand. It's warm and comforting. It's that same sensation you felt back then. Somehow, you can feel it through her hand. It's as if she's silently telling you that you know what you have to do. Your anxiety fades, and you take a deep breath. I'm not going to do that, Miss Timora. What? You said it yourself. Our court system needs a defense attorney and a prosecutor of equal power to keep things fair. It's not what I'm not going to withdraw. You believe in Beatrice's innocence, and if you truly believe you're on the right side, then prove it by beating me. Fine. Do what you want. You're only going to make things harder for everyone. Tyrion? As soon as Miss Tamura steps out of the room, your body drops to the floor. Whatever bravery you felt before got replaced with an extreme amount of fatigue. Scaled Lord, that's the first time I've ever spoken to her like that. But you still did it. You stood your ground. Figuratively, I mean. Right now, you're kind of just sitting on the floor. Yeah, I need to take a moment. Can we go back to the ballroom? You return to the ballroom and take a moment to recover. You spot Commander White at the edge of the room, but you don't pay him much notice. It takes you a while before you feel ready to stand. You okay? Yeah, I just needed a moment. Anyways, the mood reading brought us a few more hours to investigate the murder. We should take advantage of the new information we just learned. So, where should we start first? Right, you're the prosecutor now, so that would technically make you his boss for the time being. This is weird, right? Yep. Awkwardness aside, I never really led a task force before. What would Steelwind normally do in this situation? Well, she'd normally have us investigate areas of interest. Right. The context of the investigation tends to change after each round of court proceedings. Well, we're lacking a lot of physical evidence. Could you and the Inquisition search the gallery in Beatrice's room? Perhaps you can find evidence of how the Sword of Spell Eating was stolen. Whatever you say, boss. That covers the Inquisition. Well, what are we going to do? It's clear that Lord Freya's inheritance plays a large role in this case. Even if it's not valid, we should take a look at the modified will that he was drafting. It might give us some insight about what he was really planning to do with his inheritance. Alright, let's move to his study, I guess. Come on, where is it? As you enter William Frega's study, you spot a figure rummaging through the drawers on his desk. Why isn't it here? Where else would he put it? Miriam? What? As soon as she notices you, Miriam quickly closes the drawers and walks towards you. You already saw what she was doing. She was definitely looking for something. This is a crime scene. What are you doing here, Miriam? As if that's any of your business. Considering that I'm the prosecutor, it's very much my business. Give a side glance to the knights stationed outside of the room. They should have stopped her from entering, but perhaps she used her status to intimidate them into letting her through. However, this could be a blessing in disguise. She was clearly looking for something in this room, and you have a feeling you know what it is. You appear to be looking for something, Miriam. What could be so important that you disturb an active crime scene? It's none of your concern. I'm merely trying to find something that belongs to me. Really? Because I have a feeling that we might be looking for the same thing. You're looking for the will that your father was drafting, aren't you? That's... Were you trying to destroy it before we could get to it? No, of course not. I just needed to see it for myself. She really do this? Oh? Is she also suspicious of Beatrice? Why are you so determined to see the drafted will, Miss Freyga? I just wanted to see what my father's final wishes were. But your father already had a will filed previously. Wouldn't that be enough? You also suspect something, don't you? Of course not. Beatrice would never do something like this. Miss Freyga, I never even mentioned Beatrice. Oh, Xavier, hello, welcome. You're doing well. I know how things may look. Please understand. I'm just trying to get to the truth. I don't think your sister did this, but she may have been involved. She may have worked with someone else to orchestrate her father's death. Unlike Leif, she didn't immediately deny it. This means that she already had her own suspicions. Where's the will, Miriam? I need to see it. I don't know. Haven't been able to find it. You recall that she was frantically searching William's desk earlier. She's probably telling the truth. It should have been here, but I can't find it. He locked the door when he began drafting it. In addition to that, the Inquisition closed the area off after the body was discovered. That means that someone took it during the lockdown. William's modified will has been added to your notes. Okay, that's pretty helpful. It was probably stolen by whoever murdered him, right? Yeah, that would make the most sense. Which means that whoever did this wanted to nullify whatever was written on it. It's looking more and more like the motive behind this was William's inheritance. Anyways, looks like we won't be able to find the will. But the fact that it was taken must imply something. For now, we should follow other leads. Oh, your voice is cool. Oh, thank you so much, Xavier. I appreciate it. Like, for the longest time, I actually thought, like, my voice is a bit whiny and nasally. But I was honestly surprised that a lot of people like it. So, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words. For now, we should follow our other leads. There's also the question of who committed the murder and how. Don't we already know the how? The murderer stole the sword of spell eating and used it to break into the study. That's true, but think about how they would have needed to move around the manor. The murder took place on the first floor, within William Frega's study. But the gallery was on the second floor. They would have needed to go upstairs, steal the sword from the gallery, and then use it to nullify the lock on the study. Not only that, they would have needed to go back upstairs and plant the sword in Beatrice's room. About that, if someone's conspired with Beatrice to do this, why would they plant the sword in her room? That's a good point. Perhaps they had a falling out. Her partner might have tried to betray her by pinning the blame on her. But if that were true, why wouldn't she just sell them out and make a deal with Steelwind? It would have been because of the Slayer rule. Slayer rule. I remember the guy at the will reading also mentioned that. What is it? It was a law passed by the Crown centuries ago. According to that law, if someone is involved in another person's death, even accidentally, they will not be allowed to inherit the deceased's property. So even if Beatrice wasn't directly responsible, she'd lose her cut of the inheritance if she took a plea deal. More importantly, it doesn't sound like Miriam completely believes in Beatrice's innocence either. If that's true, what else can she tell you? Miriam, it almost sounds like you suspect Beatrice as well. That's... Am I incorrect? I don't know what to think anymore. Why else would she threaten me? Wait, she was threatened? Miriam, did Beatrice threaten you in some way? Oh, hello, Lexi. Welcome. You sub. Oh, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming and watching. What? Of course not. Your testimony yesterday was quite convenient for the defense. It almost got the whole case thrown out. And Leif didn't seem to understand what was going on either. With the way she gave her testimony yesterday, it was almost like she was covering for you. Did he seriously not know? Please, promise me that you won't tell anyone about this. I won't tell anyone. What happened? About an hour after the murder, I was approached by Ruby Tamora. She gave me a list of statements to give in my testimony. The statements weren't true, but she assured me that my status would protect me from any scrutiny. What? She had information that I tried to keep secret, and she threatened to make it public unless I cooperated with her. No. No! She would never do that! I'm telling the truth. Please, you can't tell Tamora that I told you. She ruined me. The eye shows that her fear is genuine. She's not lying. I've seen that woman do all kinds of shady shit in the cases I've worked. Forgery, bribery, blackmail, you name it. I'll bet you're just the same. Successor for the devil of defense attorneys. The rumors, they can't be true. You refuse to believe it. Hey, Tyrion, are you okay? Now's not the time to doubt yourself. There's too much at stake right now, and you have a job to do. We should check on Commander White. He might have found something. Dang, bro, your voice is hella... Oh, my goodness. This is the second person who praised me about my voice today. Thank you so much, Lexi. That's so kind of you. I'm a little embarrassed right now, but yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We should check on Commander White. He might have found something. Okay. Just don't push yourself, okay? Yeah. We'll have plenty of time to think about this later. Well, I guess we'll have to move. We'll have to go to, Commander White, I suppose. Well, he isn't there. In the sitting room? Maybe he's there? As you move around the manor, you peek into the sitting room to see if Von Sanctus is still there. You don't see him there, but you spot another individual. Ooh! Oh, he looks super cool. What the heck? He's calmly reading some sort of book, but you can feel a menacing aura emanating from him. This aura. You must be daft. You think I wouldn't notice your presence. What? Did he notice you? You barely entered the room. Before you have a chance to respond, the man pulls out his great axe and rushes towards you. Wait! You bring your arms to block his blow, but in hindsight, that probably won't do much against an axe that large. Tegeus. You open your eyes. Celeste is now standing between you and the axe-wielding maniac. You're not sure what happened, but it looks like she knocked him several feet backward. Hmm? Oh, it's you two. What the hell was that? You could have killed him. You shouldn't have snuck up on me like that. I almost cleaved him in two. Tyrion didn't do anything wrong. Who the hell do you think you are? I am Lord Lucio Steelwind, Grand General of the Wyvern Guard military forces. So this is Prosecutor Steelwind's father. They do share the same intimidating stare, although he's not the most menacing person in the room right now. Celeste, it's fine. I'm not hurt. She looks more than irate right now, but she begrudgingly she's... sorry, I'm fumbling my words right now. She begrudgingly sheathes her sword. Anyways, Lord Steelwind was one of the people with a motive to murder William Frege. And as a fellow head of a pillar house, he might have some information about William and his affairs. If looks could kill, McCoy, one might misinterpret that look of yours as murderous intent. Aw, yes you do have battle instincts after all. I honestly wasn't sure, since you obviously have a silver spoon stuck up your... Celeste? Such a lack of respect and discipline. If you were one of my soldiers, I'd have you hanged. If I was one of your soldiers, I'd hang myself. Okay, let's all try to stay civil here. Lord Steelwind, you were here at the Lord's Ball when the murder occurred. Am I correct? I was. Do you mind if I ask you some questions about what you saw that night? If that's okay with you. I suppose I must oblige, considering that my daughter has so unceremoniously thrust her responsibilities onto you. I'm sorry about what happened to your daughter. I'm sure that you're very worried. It's her own fault for exerting herself despite her injuries. Even the bravest warriors know when to stay off the battlefield. How can you say that? Your daughter was trying to do the right thing. By prosecuting the heiress of House Frege, you had very little evidence to substantiate a conviction. If she wanted to strike a blow on the rival's house, she should have been certain that her enemy would fall. Now, if Beatrice Frege is found innocent, any hopes of an alliance between House Frege and House Steelwood will be completely annihilated. It's clear that he and the prosecutor have vastly different priorities. Where were you throughout the night, Lord Steelwind? I so loathe gatherings like that. They are a complete waste of time. I was in this room, but then I received word that Lord Frege's lost heiress had made an unexpected appearance. She was supposedly speaking with the Crown Prince, so I made my way to the ballroom. Did you speak with them at any point? No. I kept my distance and stayed near the King's Guard. I needed to make sure she wouldn't try of anything. Was this because you were wary of Beatrice Frege? Yes, I was. The Crown Prince has always been a bleeding heart, and the Freges are trained to sharpen their tongue from birth. I needed to make sure that she wouldn't try to interfere with his engagement. I swear you sound like a voice actor. I wish, Lexi, I wish. But you know, I like playing visual novels a lot that don't have voice acting because it's good practice, right? Because I've always enjoyed voice acting for the longest while. And you know, while I'm streaming and because I love VNs, as well pick VNs that have little to no voice acting and, you know, practice, right? Practice for the funsies. It's good. It's a good way to practice like delivery and line reading, and a good way to practice accents. So as you can probably hear, I'm trying my best not to butcher any of the accents that I'm using for some of the other characters. So yeah. Yeah, it's a good practice. It's good practice to say the least. But overall, I do love visual novels a lot. And like I said, and I keep saying before, while I stream a variety of things, like my main bias are both fighting games and visual novels. So you will at the very least see both of these genres almost every week on stream. I needed to make sure that she wouldn't try to interfere with his engagement. You were worried that she was going to try to take Aster back. I was, but it was clear that wasn't her intention. But you did overhear their conversation. What were they talking about? Their conversation was completely inane. It was all just small talk. Lady Frege has spent most of her time playing with Prince Ulrich. Right. Aster's younger brother was there too. You know that Beatrice had some role in the murder, even if she wasn't directly responsible. Did she have some unknown goal by speaking with Aster and his brother? You went to the ballroom when you heard that Beatrice had returned. Was this before or after the lockdown? It was before the lockdown. It sounds about right. This means that she was accounted for before the theft was reported. And did you see her leave at any point? No. She spoke with the two princes for quite a while. She didn't leave their side until she was arrested for Lord Frega's murder. What? That means she was accounted for the entire night. Beatrice's alibi has been added to your notes. But her thoughts said she was an accomplice in William's death. Is she there to distract the King's Guard? Thank you for answering our questions, Lord Steelwind. I'm merely repaying my daughter's debt to you. He was surprisingly pretty cooperative. That doesn't lift any suspicion off of him just yet. You'll need to find more evidence if you want to know for sure. Anyways, we should probably move somewhere else. Let's go, Celeste. McCoy? What? Your spell casting is undisciplined, but your battle stance and reflexes are commendable. You have my respect as a warrior. As if that means anything coming from you. I'm back. How's the story going? The story's going is that we get to hear we got to listen to the will reading, and we understood that Miriam, Beatrice's sister, was threatened by Ruby Tamora in following the statement that she was supposed to give, right? The lies that she was supposed to give in court. And Tyrion couldn't believe this, but, the police commissioner mentioned that Tamora, back in the day, she used to lie, she used to blackmail, she used to, force people in order to testify, even falsely, in order to get the victory for her client. So now we're actually talking to Lucio Steelwood, who is Arya's father. Yeah, some new people. See, I told... Well, I don't know, but you know what? I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I still fumble my line readings every now and then, but yeah. I still need a lot of work. But yeah, thank you so much. Alright, let's move. Let's go to Beatrice's bedroom. Keep that in a corner. Don't let it get away. Get away from him. As you enter Beatrice's room, you see the Inquisition cornering something near the back of the room. Some sort of animal. A wolf, to be exact. Wait, is that? You recall spotting that same wolf on the night of the Lord's Ball. Has it been in the house since the murder? Practice makes us better, buddy. You're doing good by day. Oh, thank you so much, stranger. I'll keep doing my best. What? Did you just read his thoughts? Protect territory from enemies. You must see the Inquisition as intruders in his territory. But does that mean he sees the room as his home? You slowly start to walk towards him. Wait, Tyrion? Stay back, kid. It's a wild animal. There's no telling what it'll do. You ignore them and continue to approach him. Don't worry. I'm not here to hurt you. This human. He can speak the language of dog? Wait, you can understand me? What? Why are you talking to it? You're speaking plain dog. Of course. Tracker understand. What's going on here? Is the Eye of Horus allowing you to speak with him? I've never really tried it before, but perhaps powers aren't limited to humans. Anyways, this could be a good opportunity. You wonder what else he knows. This music is weird. Tracker. Is that your name? Oh, wait, Tracker? We remember Tracker, like when we entered into Leif's mind, she mentioned about Tracker. Now we were wondering, who the heck is Tracker? So it turns out that Tracker is this wolf. How did you... Yes, Tracker is Tracker. That the name Queen give to me. Did you finish that Windows XP knockoff game? No, not yet. We're going to be continuing it next week. Since I continued it on YouTube, and since I have all the other parts here, we're probably gonna try dual streaming this on Twitch and YouTube again next time. Hopefully it'll work, because this time, earlier on Sunday, Sunday is usually where I get to stream on Twitch, but this week, especially because I had like something serious to talk about a little bit, which is related to the game, I decided to dual stream on both platforms, but Twitch didn't work out. So we're gonna give this another shot next week. So on Sunday, next Sunday, hopefully we're gonna continue Terra Nova. Hopefully we'll probably finish it too. We'll see though. Oh, he's speaking in cute dog now. Oh, he's not a wolf, he's a dog. All right. Tracker gestures to Leif when he mentions his queen. He called you his queen. Do you know him, Leif? Yes, but how? How are you talking to it? Ah, that's... You were so caught up in speaking to Tracker, you didn't realize how strange the scene must look to everyone else. I'm a dog whisperer. I never mentioned that before. Do you honestly expect us to believe something like that? But Tracker says that he can understand him. He told me himself. Oh, thank you, Lexi. I appreciate it. Wait, how do you know that? Leif and Tracker. So, Leif, how are you able to communicate with Tracker? I suppose there is no sign in hiding it anymore. Tracker is my familiar. Familiar? So it's the same magical bond Harold has with his monkey. You recall that the familiar bond spell allows the caster to telepathically speak with their familiar. That must be how she's speaking to him. You never mentioned him during questioning. It wasn't relevant to the investigation, and I've been keeping him a secret from my family. I suppose that makes sense. I doubt William Frege would have allowed you to keep an animal in his home. Well, I don't appreciate you keeping this info from us. But it doesn't look like anyone got hurt. And aside from this dog, we haven't really found anything new. Damn it, they didn't find any more physical evidence of the theft. Looks like you've run into another dead end. Unless I find a build for the last boss. I may try him again after being stuck on him for days. Hopefully I succeed this time. All right, good luck. Good luck, because he is that man can like do chunks of damage so easily. But yeah, good luck having a proper build in order to beat him. Yeah, like the DLC form of Radhan is crazy strong. Especially his second form. Oh, I'm sure the doggo's gonna help us out. Tracker, I saw you on the night of the murder. What? He's a spammer. Yeah, he is. Spamming all his best attacks. Tracker? Ruh-roh. He made him look like the Doge, even though he isn't a Shiba Inu. Oh man, that explains the music. Oh my god. Ruh-roh indeed. He's supposed to stay in this room. Wait, is that why you won't allow the servants to enter it? I didn't want to keep him in Beatrice's room, but he was very insistent that he stay here. Tracker likes the ambience. Right. Wait, if you live in this room, did you see who brought the sword of spell eating here? I already asked him about it, but he didn't see anyone. He must have been taking a nap. Either that or he was roaming outside even though I told him to stay here. That face. That face is perfect. You know what? You know what? Hold on, guys. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. And this will be the thumbnail for the next time we actually play this game. We're not done with the stream yet, but hold on, let me post this here. Okay. And let me save this. Hold on. Hold on. Let me just save this and we're gonna continue because this face is utter perfection. I'm not gonna lie. This face is utter perfection. I still love the backgrounds of the game much. I hope someone makes a third-person action RPG with this kind of background settings. Yeah! You know, like, the visuals in this game are really good. Like, not just the background art, like, the portrait art is also really, really good. Like, I need to look for who the artist is for this game because it's pretty impressive. Yeah, and I believe the game was also kickstarted, by the way. And from what I understand, the developer is also working on a sequel to this too, so I'm pretty excited. Hopefully I'll be able to get to stream it whenever it comes out, maybe next year or the year after. I mean, they are an indie developer, so... Trackers see a lot of things, though. Trackers see many new people that night. Right. He was roaming the manor during the Lord's Ball. He must have seen a lot of new people. Wait, if he was walking around, he might have seen something that the Inquisition doesn't know about. Can you tell us what you saw on the night of the murder, Tracker? Tracker see rats. This may be more difficult than you thought. I need you to be more specific. Can you go in order? Tell me about everyone that you saw that night. Okay. Tracker was taking nap in room, but Tracker woke up from loud sounds outside. Tracker hears small things running in the walls. Thing in the walls? Tracker called Queen, but she didn't answer, so Tracker decided to check sound alone. Tracker followed sounds outside. That's when Tracker smelled the bad smell. That smell? That's when Tracker smelled flying rat. You smelled a flying rat? You mean like a pigeon? Tracker could smell where rat was, so Tracker barked at him. Tracker must have been scared rat, because he fell onto the floor and dropped his stick. The rat had a stick? Rat had a stick? How can a rat carry a stick? Tracker could see them now, so Tracker did one final bark to scare them off. The rats were scared and went back into the walls. Went into the walls? That's when Tracker picked up the stick rat dropped. Queen finally answered Tracker. She told him to go back into his room and hide. After message, Tracker brings stick back to room for inspection. Oh, excuse me. Do you remember what time this encounter happened? What is time? Right. An animal wouldn't really have a concept of that. What did he say, Tyrion? Did he see anything? Well, he definitely saw something. Okay, let's try to take a moment and work through this. Tracker is an animal. Despite being able to speak with him, his use of words is very primitive. So you should carefully examine each of his statements. The first thing he heard was small things running in the walls. What did Tracker hear when he woke up? Recall someone else observed something similar that night. Let's see. The thief caused... Wait, hold up. Tracker... Is that the one? No, Tracker heard small things. Yeah, he didn't see. Tracker heard runs ratting in the vents. The servants were complaining about rats running through the air vents, so they sent me to take care of it. Hear me out, hear me out. Can rat be a real person? Yeah, who knows? Who knows? There is a rat who can be a real person. That's called the Rat King from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but yeah, that's a thing. Also, Splinter. Splinter, also in the same series, was human and he turned into a rat. He mutated into a rat. Although in the comics, he was a rat that mutated into an anthropomorphic rat. So it's a little bit different between stuff like the 87 TMNT cartoon and, you know, the comics and other incarnations of the TMNT. I heard one of them running in the vents upstairs, and I followed it here. I figured it had nowhere else to go, so I opened it up and put a trap down. You must have heard the rats that Jan mentioned. They weren't actually running in the walls, they were running in the vents. Then the next thing he did was call the queen, but she didn't answer. Why didn't Leif answer Tracker's message? The queen that he is referring to is probably Leif. Leif wasn't with him at the time. He must have called out to her telepathically. Okay, so Leif... Oh wait, hold on. The familiar bond was nullified by the anti-magic field, right? There we go. That's true, because there's an anti-magic field that we learned of earlier, and it kind of prevents any kind of magic from happening. So it's definitely clear that Tracker wasn't able to telepathically connect with Leif. Leif didn't respond because she never got Tracker's message. Okay, I was AFK. How can this dog talk? He can't actually talk. Tyrion with his Eye of Horus can telepathically talk to him. And so does Leif because he's her familiar. And familiars in this world are animals that you are able to connect with telepathically. So Harold, the museum owner that we saw in the previous stream, he has a familiar who's a monkey, and he could telepathically talk to him. The telepathic capabilities granted by Familiar Bond were disabled by the anti-magic field, which means that this encounter happened during the lockdown. So that covers his first two statements. You're not really sure what to make of the flying rat he saw. Tracker, why did you refer to the rat as flying? Because rats don't usually jump and fly. Yes, I got that. Is it possible that what you saw wasn't really a rat? Rats are rats. They're small things that run and hide. So rat is a general term for him. He uses it to refer to small animals that are acting suspiciously. Anyways, with everything you know now, his last statement doesn't make any sense. Why did Tracker finally hear Leif? He said that the queen finally answered him, and this happened after he picked up the stick. But that shouldn't have been possible due to the anti-magic field. Okay, let's see. the sword that Tracker obtained was actually the sword of spell eating. Is that right? No, not that one. Let's see. The murder weapon? No. Was actually hidden in Beatrice's room? No. Okay, let's see. The stick that Tracker obtained was actually the sword of spell eating. That should be the right one, right? Yes! Got it. I like how the music amps up whenever we manage to figure out some of the evidence. Tracker, about that stick you found. Where did you put it after you came back to this room? Tracker hides stick in safe space, under the bed. And this stick, did it look like the sword that my friend is carrying? What? Hey, your friend stole my other stick. Wait, your other stick? Yeah, Tracker found it while he was hiding from Metal Men. Metal Men? Is he referring to the King's Guard? He must have left the bedroom when they were searching for the sword of spell eating. Wait, are you the one who stole Celeste's sword? Tracker? Did Tracker do a bad? It's as I suspected. Tracker was the one who brought the sword of spell eating here. What? I have no idea why, but the sword of spell eating was lying in a hallway somewhere. Tracker found it and brought it to, found it and brought it to Beatrice's room. His room. That can't be. So the person who framed Beatrice for the theft was... If it weren't for Tracker, the Inquisition would have never honed in on Beatrice at all. But why would the sword of spell eating be lying in a random hallway? Leif, do you mind if I borrow Tracker for a little bit? It's okay, Queen. He smelled good. Tracker trusts him. His face reminded me of the doggo meme. Yes, dog, the Doge meme. The Doge meme. That's why I love it so much. Like, when I saw that, I was like, what the heck? What a reference they went for. Thanks, I guess. Okay. But only if you allow me to accompany you. You know about Miriam's position. How does Leif feel about you prosecuting Beatrice? It's possible she might try to sabotage the investigation if you let her accompany you. But as Tracker's owner, you don't really have a choice. You nod to Leif, but you also send a subtle gesture to Celeste to keep an eye on her. She silently nods and follows behind her. Alright, Tracker, can you take us to the hallway where you found these rats? Sure thing, King. It looks like you received the promotion. Alright, let's go to the hallway now. You allow Tracker to lead you to the location where you found the sword of spell eating. Surprisingly, it's fairly close to Beatrice's room. He apparently didn't travel very far before he met those rats he mentioned. As you continue towards your destination, Tracker suddenly becomes extremely tense. Tracker, what's wrong? Enemy. Oh. Before you even have a chance to react, Tracker stops between you and Eris and begins angrily barking at her. Oh dear. Tracker, stop that. Leif tries to calm Tracker down, but he is undeterred. He continues to bark at Eris, and it looks like it's taking all of Leif's strength to hold him back. Alright, going AFK for a bit, see if you're gonna be live. Alright, stranger, take care, and thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I'm terribly sorry. He's not usually like this. Ah, it's to be expected. I'm not sure why, but animals have always been... Oh, whoa, Eris did her thing again. She did her thing again. She did the manipulation thing again. Yeah, for those who aren't familiar, Eris is not human at all. She is probably a Satan or a demon from the netherworld. But what is her purpose being here? I don't know. She just likes causing anarchy. But yeah, this is like the third time we actually see her in the game. But we could pretty much say that she may as well be a central antagonist. Wait, it's getting a bit interesting. Feel free to, like, if you want to be busy with other things, right? You can always watch the archives. So yeah, it's not like you have to watch the whole thing, but if you got things to do, go for it, man. Archive is always there. I'm not sure why, but animals have always disliked me. What is Eris doing here? I recall seeing her at the barracks too. She said that her father is friends with Beatrice, but she's involved in this case somehow? Anyways, we came here for a purpose. We should examine this hallway and see if we can find any clues. Let's examine first. These crystals supposedly generated an anti-magic field during the lockdown. However, the sword of spell eating would have made its wielder immune to these fields. There's an air vent over there. It appears to go from the ceiling to the ground floor. Is this where that rat escaped to, Tracker? That's where the jumping rat went. I thought you said it was a flying rat. Tracker see that too. Okay, probably just be better to move on. Anyways, where did this rat come from? Rat come out of the other wall. I can, but watching it live is more fun. That's fair. That's fair. Do you mean the vent on the opposite side? Yes, Tracker saw a flying rat escape that way. What was this rat doing here in the first place? Alright, let's check a little bit more. What else can we see? Can we check the floor? We can use detect magic.
Arcanum.
Let's see here. What? What do you see? Vents have traces of illusion magic inside of them. What? Traces also go deep inside these vents. It's the same for the vents on the other side too. Why would there be traces of illusion magic inside the vents? What spell could have possibly left those traces? Especially when you interact with chat, it's so fun to watch. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, you get to watch live and you get to talk with other people in the chat, or you talk to the streamer directly. Yeah, watching it live is fun, but with that said, while it is fun, what it is more fun, but there are things in life that can have a bit of a priority. So if someone is like, for example, hey, I have to do an errand, I have to buy stuff, I have to do stuff, and you have to go, then yeah, you definitely need to go. But yeah, that's true. You're pretty much right about that, stranger. What spell could have possibly left those traces? As I told you many months ago, illusion spells tend to do one of two things. They either create freestanding illusions, or they can disguise an existing creature. I doubt someone created a small freestanding illusion in the vents, so a disguised creature must have been inside these vents at some point. These vents are tiny. No one would be able to fit inside them. Tracker couldn't see them now, so Tracker did one final bork to scare them off. The rats were scared and went back into the walls. But a rat would be able to fit into these vents. Well, yeah, I guess that would be true. Well, that would mean that rat had an illusion spell active on it all the time. Oh, got nothing to do. I'm waiting for the rain to calm down so I can fight for Super Earth again. Ah, it's pretty rainy where you're at, huh? I mean, we are I mean, interestingly enough that it's raining right now when we're in summer, but, you know, different corners of the world have, like, different weather patterns. So it's pretty interesting. It's not only that. He said that the queen finally answered him, and this happened after you picked up a stick. But that shouldn't have been possible because of the anti-magic field. Tracker saw this rat during the lockdown. It would have been inside the anti-magic field created by the lockdown. There can only be one way that rat could have an illusion spell active on it. Wait, it can't mean that rat was holding the sword of spell eating. Tracker's estimate has been added to your notes. What? But how is that possible? A rat wouldn't have the strength or hands to carry the sword. Tracker's vocabulary is primitive and limited. He uses the word rat to describe small creatures that hide and act suspiciously. But even if it wasn't an actual rat, it still couldn't have been a human, right? You're right. It would have been a small animal. A small animal with the strength and dexterity to traverse a small air vent while holding a sword. Could it be the monkey? Harold's familiar? That's the first thing that I'm thinking about right now. Because monkeys do have the strength of actually carrying a sword. Oh. Yep, it's raining season here, so it's raining for the past few days and shows that it's gonna continue. Aw. Well, it's pretty much hard to go outside when it's constantly raining, but hopefully it's not like too hard of a rainfall because, yeah, we won't want things to be flooding all over the place. Oh yeah, the monkey. Yeah, that's the first thing I got that I had in mind too. Yeah, see, there we go. Sorry, but I really have to ask, is that a monkey riding on your back? Yes, this is my familiar, Eugene. No, are you serious? We know that Harold had a motive to kill William Frege. He was planning to defund the Haraldson Hall of History. They had an argument that night, and that's when William Frege decided that he was going to defund Harold's museums. He must have struck a deal with Beatrice. And with Beatrice's portion of the House Frege, he could have easily kept his museums funded. He could have faked the robbery and sent his familiar to murder William. I can't believe this. There's something else that Tracker said. Tracker could smell where Rat was, so Tracker barked at him. Tracker must have scared Rat, because he fell onto the floor and dropped his stick. Rat had a stick. Tracker, you said you had to smell to see where the rat was. And when he dropped the stick, you were finally able to see him. Does this mean you couldn't visually see him before he fell down? Yeah, Tracker couldn't see the rat with his eyes, so Tracker used his nose to see it. The monkey was invisible. No one would have noticed the small invisible animal. In addition to that, he moved through the air vents. Eugene would have been nearly undetectable that night. Beatrice is a master of illusion magic, so it's possible that she cast invisibility on Eugene. Invisibility has been added to your notes. And there's the position of this air vent. We're currently in the hallway just north of Beatrice's room. And this air vent connects to the ground floor. We align the two floor maps together. This vent must lead to the storage room. Right. The air vent there curved upwards. This must be where it leads. And according to Jan, that air vent led directly to William's study. Hey, Sai. Just want to ask you, why did you get me content warning? I have the game. I saw you didn't have the game, Foul. I saw you didn't have the game, so I thought, all right, I guess I'll give it to him because I wanted to give it to Kirby as well, but I thought, hey, you don't have the game. I'll give it to you. And hey, what the heck? Why are you still awake, brother? What are you doing? Go back to sleep. I literally played the game already. Oh no, but it's no problem. It's pretty cheap. I don't know. Can you actually gift it to someone else who doesn't have the game? I'm going to sleep now. Yeah, you're probably cooking up some stuff right there. So for anyone who's, I think you get refund. No, I don't want the refund. You can actually gift it to someone else. I think you can gift it to someone else, right? You can have it in your inventory and you can probably gift it to someone else. So if anyone else doesn't have content warning in your friends list, you can send it to him. No problem. You can try that. You can try that. I'm pretty sure that there's someone you can give it to him. Dude, it's happening again. Running outside, watching a relaxing game with lo-fi songs, and this time I got a cold drink too. Hey, if it's a good time, then yeah, I think that's pretty great. But yeah, Val, I'm pretty sure you can find someone else you can give the game. But yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Steam actually tricked me about this because it showed me that you didn't have the game. It's okay, I'll stick for the while. Listening to you gaming. All right, that's fine. It would have been the perfect route to enter William's study and leave undetected. So this game is pretty much a visual novel. I don't know if you're familiar with Ace Attorney, Val, but this game is strongly inspired by the Ace Attorney series. And let me remember. And has been like the #1 inspiration for making this. It's pretty much like Ace Attorney, but with like magic and fantasy elements. And yeah, it's just as good as the Ace Attorney games, I'm not gonna lie. Well, he wouldn't have needed to nullify the lock to enter that room. Ace Attorney visual novel? Yeah, Ace Attorney is a visual novel too. It pretty much has like the same phases as Ace Attorney. You have like the trials, and then you have the investigations. And a talking meme dog. Yeah. A cute little dog that has like the Doge face, which is pretty funny. But yeah. Yeah, they're technically both visual novels. So yeah, it's if you like Ace Attorney, you probably love this game a lot. I'm at its 4th case right now. I don't know why, but I can't play visual novels that much. Only if they have something spicy in them. Then sure, I can play VNs. Ah, you're that kind of cultured individual. Ah, those 18 plus VNs, right? I see. You want to play like what's it called? Let me see. Remember, what was that game called? What was that? Let me look for it. Hold on. Let me look for its name. I'm pretty sure I remember what it is. No, not that one. It's that game that the like not really 18 plus. Not really 18 plus, but you want spicy stuff. Oh god, what was that visual novel that several VTubers played before? Oh, Grisaya, yeah. Oh man, that's one VN series that I really wanted to read. Yeah. The funny thing is, Val, like, I actually, the only Grisaya related VN that I actually played was like the stupid spin-off that let me see what its name again. Where is it? Yeah, Idol Magical Girl Chiru Michiru. Please tell me you played that, Val. Please tell me you played that, because that's the only Grisea thing that I actually read and finished. It's the magical girl spin-off that stars Michiru. The Idol Mahou Shoujo Chiru Chiru? Yes, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, it has like 2 parts on Steam as well. I had like no idea of Grisea, but when I saw that it's so ridiculous, I thought, okay, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna get the spin-off and not play the actual like sad and dramatic VN series where it originally came from. My brother kind of introduced me to the series. Oh, I see. Like when it comes to, I'm pretty sure that Grisea has like a non-spicy variant, right? I'm pretty sure it has a non-spicy variant, but I don't know. I was about to say like if you were familiar with Steins Gate, but that doesn't have any spicy stuff in it. I love Steins Gate a lot. Like even like the Steins Gate 0 as well. I thought like a lot of people said like it's pointless to have a prequel series. It's pointless to have a series that like in the wrong timeline, for example, until we reach to the correct timeline. But I still liked it a lot. But my younger self managed to play the spicy version. Oh, you naughty, naughty boy. You're such a naughty boy, Val. Explains why you're so unhinged. Explains why you're so unhinged. You watching spicy stuff? You huddle into your computer late at 12 a.m., open up the PC and getting that spicy version of a Grisaya no Kaijutsu? I don't think that's the reason. Oh, you don't think that's the reason, huh? I don't know about that, buddy. Nah, I'm just kidding. But when we were young, it's always like curiosity that gets you interested in seeing things that aren't supposed to be seen when you were young, right? Like, let me give you a good example. Kids playing Call of Duty, right? Call of Duty is just for like older people, right? But then you get to go online and playing Call of Duty. I mean, Call of Duty, you hear people on Call of Duty and they're screaming obscenities and they're like 7 or 8 years old, and you're like, what the hell is a kid doing here, huh? You calling your butt in front of a stranger, literally. Nah, Val and I are pals. I don't think he'd mind, right? I saw a lot of online threads about which one is better, the spicy version or the safe for work version, so I tried both. Okay, that's actually fair. Because here's the thing. I understand why some people check the spicy version more than the safe version. Because there's another visual novel that you have to experience the R18 version, because it's very, very important when it comes to the story. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one too, Val, but it's called, let me see its name again. It's, where is it? Where is it? Let me look for it. I think I can find it. Where is it? Ah, there we go. Wonderful Everyday Down the Rabbit Hole. Yeah, Wonderful Everyday Down the Rabbit Hole. This is a visual novel where you cannot get the full story or the full context of the very bizarre and very like slightly horror infused events if you don't play the uncensored version. I'm everyone's pal. That's why my name is Val. That's pretty much. And I think it's also the same thing with Saya no Uta too. I don't think Saya no Uta had spicy things in it though. I don't think it does, but Saya no Uta is one of those visual novels that, again, you need to play the uncensored version. I never played that one, I guess. Yeah, Wonderful Everyday Down the Rabbit Hole is... Ooh, I can't even explain how it is. It involves, like, abuse. It involves, like, insane people, an insane cult of people, and like riding through trains and whatnot. Would you count Corpse Party as a visual novel? Kind of, yes. Well, the power is back now on. I can fight for Super Earth, but it's 1:10 a.m. Yeah, I probably need to get some sleep, stranger. Yeah, it's pretty late. Would you count Corpse Party? But yeah, I would count Corpse Party as a visual novel. Sure, it has like characters just moving around, like, you know, in an RPG Maker setting, but it does have a narrative. And there are versions of Corpse Party, like the ones on the PSP, which are 100% visual novels. What's the time on your side? It's 10:40 p.m. at the moment. Yeah, 10:40 p.m. Yeah, like the RPG Maker. Yeah, they're technically visual novels. The blood-covered one? Yes, I think so. I think that's the one. Yeah. You basically don't have like the overhead view where you walk around and like interact with people. It's directly a visual novel. Just images and text and whatnot. Yeah, that could technically be it. It's almost 3 p.m. here. Ooh, okay. I think that sounds like you are in the East Coast, I believe, Rayquaza. Hopefully I'm correct. I played halfway. I was too scared. Yeah, well, Corpse Party is all about the gore. It's about the gore, and the gore isn't for everyone. Me, gore, I ain't about that gore life. No way. No way. Like, yeah, I'm close to the East Coast. Have you read any of the Type Moon visual novels? I am very familiar with them. I did play Melty Blood. I did play the original ever since like Melty Blood. What was it? Melty Blood React. Yes, Melty Blood React. I played Melty Blood. What's it called? Act Cadenza, and then there's also Actress Again with Current Code, and also Type Lumina. So I am familiar with Type Moon and its characters, but I still have yet to read a full VN like Fate Stay Night or the Tsukihime remake. I hope it comes out to Steam. And Mahoyo is already on Steam as well, so maybe I would get that, but I don't know if I'm able to stream that one. I love how Xion in Fate Grand Order casually references Melty Blood. Yeah, he's pretty much an original Melty Blood character. Melty Blood is a Fate game, right? Technically it's Tsukihime originally, but here's the funny thing, Fal. In Type Lumina, you have 3 Fate characters in there. Saber from Fate Stay Night is in there, and who else? Ushiwaku. Wait, what's her name again? What's Ushi Wakamaru? Please, I'm butchering her name now. Is that right? Yeah, Ushi Wakamaru. Ushi Wakamaru and the Count of Monte Cristo from Fate, the Grand Order are playable characters in that. Yes, and Mashu as well. Yeah, Dantes, Ushi Wakamaru, and Mashu from Fate Grand Order are in there, as well as Saber from Fate Stay Night. So technically it's a crossover. It's a crossover between Tsukihime and Fate Stay Night / Fate Go. Well, I know one character only, the funny Neko arc. Everyone knows Neko arc because Neko arc is like the mascot of Type Moon, and she's been in memes. And because we all are pretty much memesters, we love some Neko arc in this house. We love some Neko arc. Yeah, Neko arc is like eternally associated with anything related to Type Moon. And yeah, by the way, Neko arc has variants as well, so that's even more fun to know. Okay, let's see. Well, he wouldn't have to need to nullify the lock to enter that room. Why would he need to use the sword of spell eating at all? Because of familial bond, they can telepathically communicate with each other. Harold probably needed Eugene to hold the sword so he could tell him exactly where to go. The sword's magic affects anyone magically connected to the wielder, and familial bond connects them magically. It makes sense now. Harold could have easily faked the robbery to take suspicion off of him. It's even possible that he was lying about how the display glass was shattered. Oh well, time for me to go. Alright. See you soon, stranger. Thanks for coming. Hope you have a good rest or good thing that you are doing AFK, yeah? Take care. But I've known Lord Hallardson for many years. I just can't believe that he'd be involved in this. She may have known Harold for a long time, but she never read his thoughts. His thoughts were very hostile and rude, despite his kind expression. He's very good at hiding what he's truly feeling. And Beatrice, there's no way she'd participate in a plan like this. Look, Leif, I know you don't want to suspect your sister, but it's not that. Beatrice would never trust anyone enough to work together like this. She's completely blind. She wouldn't have much of a choice. Even so, she's not the type of person to trust her accomplice to stay quiet. She'd find a way to carry out the plan herself, and she'd only employ someone else's help if she had full control of them. Leif probably knows her better than you do, but you doubt that working alone would be possible with her condition. And you can't think of any other way she'd be involved in this. Anyways, we're finished here, aren't we? Yes, thank you for lending Tracker to us, Leif. I only want to help you find out what really happened. Don't make me regret trusting you, Mr. Cuthbert. If you're truly on the side of justice, then you won't. Good. Now if you'll excuse me. So that's it, right? You finally know who committed the murder then. And if you can get Harold to confess on the stand, he might reveal Beatrice's involvement as well. If he does that, you might be able to convince her and Miss Tamora to take a plea deal. Although, knowing Miss Tamora, that'll be easier said than done. Anyways, this is definitely the lead we've been looking for. But is it really enough? We don't have any physical evidence. I have to do for now. We're running out of time. We'll just have to call Harold to the stand to testify about what he did that night. I can push him far enough. might be able to catch him lying. But you doubt it will be that easy. He has a good poker face. Just how much will he be able to hide his true thoughts? I already gave my statement to the Inquisition. Is my testimony really necessary? Sorry, old-timer. My orders came straight from the prosecutor. We're going to need you on the stand today. I understand. I'll do what I can to help. Alrighty. Let's look at the time, though. Can we actually go into the trial, or should we actually keep it to next time? How many hours have we gone so far? Let me look at the time. We're almost 2 hours in. Let me give it a think. I almost forgot we're getting Archetype Earth, aka Arcuade Burnstead, later this year in Fate Grand Order. Ooh, I like Archetype Earth. Wait, I'll lurk for now. My eyes are watery. Yeah, bro, get some sleep, Val. Get some sleep, Val. God damn it, it's like almost 3 a.m. My man, it's almost 3 a.m. Get some rest, dude. Please. Yeah, get some rest, buddy. Take good care of yourself, yeah? But Archetype Earth showing up in Fate Go is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like her design a lot. I actually played her a little bit in Actress Again Current Code. Wonder if they'd actually bring her back, but I think she would probably... We already have 2 Arcoids, right? We have Red Arcoid and the regular one, so I don't know. I'm just waiting for, Mr. Jump C, Narrow Chaos to come back, please. Please bring him back in, like, at least part 2 of the visual novel, and have his Jump C cover, like, half of the screen. Yeah, please. French bread. I'm not going to say that I'm going to be on my knees, because I'm not going to do that, but I am figuratively on my knees to hope that Narrow Chaos comes back in any future DLC, if, like, Type Lumina still has any DLC coming for it. Okay, I guess we can continue then. Yeah, let's continue for a little bit more. And we're back in court. Court is now resumed for the trial of Beatrice Frege. Let's review yesterday's proceedings. There was much debate over William Frege's inheritance. More specifically, it was unknown whether the defendant had any claim to her father's inheritance. This detail was crucial in determining whether the defendant even had a motive to commit the murder. Luckily, the victim's will was supposedly read earlier today, and it is now a part of the public record. What were the results of the will reading, Mr. Cuthbert? William Frege was planning to leave all of his assets to Jaden von Sanctus, his hopeful son-in-law. However, this was predicated on the condition that Jaden marry the victim's daughter, Leif. And it's clear that Miss Leif will never follow through on this engagement. If the engagement is not made within 6 months, William Frege's assets would be divided among his 3 daughters. I see. So there was no mention of the defendant's disinheritance. Correct, Your Honor. This means that the defendant did have something to gain from the victim's death. Your Honor, despite the confusion around the victim's inheritance, there is still very little physical evidence that implicates my client. May I remind you that Miriam Frege was not telling the truth in yesterday's proceedings? That itself is extremely suspect. And William Frege was clearly not above manipulation and lying. You can't prove that she knowingly gave false testimony. I'll admit that I can't prove that. I'll also admit that there's a lack of apparent physical evidence to substantiate our case, which is why the prosecution would like to call Harold Haroldson to the stand. Lord Haroldson? The sword of spell eating clearly plays a large role in the murder, and its theft is one of the few pieces of physical evidence in this case. As the gallery's curator, I can believe he can further elaborate on how the sword was stolen that night. More specifically, you can find out about what he did on the night of the murder. I see. Well, the court would definitely benefit from his insight. Bailiff, please escort Lord Haroldson to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Of course. My name is Harold Haroldson. I'm the owner and curator of Haroldson Hall of History, located in Homehearth. That's quite the alliterative occupation. Harold, could you please testify to the court about how you discovered that the sword of spell eating was stolen? If it will help. I was keeping an eye on my gallery's exhibits when I realized that my familiar hadn't returned. I called to him telepathically, but he didn't respond. I became worried, so I went around the manor to search for him. About an hour later, I returned to the gallery and discovered that the exhibit that held the sword of spell eating was completely destroyed. The artifact was missing, so I reported the crime to the knights at the ball, and they activated a discreet lockdown. Luckily, we found the sword and my familiar later that night. So you went to search for your monkey. That's why you didn't witness the theft? Yes. The thief was probably waiting for me to leave. They must have wanted to commit the crime without anyone seeing them. Or his testimony is completely full of it. His search for Eugene must have been a cover that he's been using to hide his actions that night. So how do you prove that? Alright, time for some cross-examination goodness. Are you referring to Eugene? Eugene? Eugene Haroldson, Your Honor. It's the name of the witness's familiar. Yes, Eugene is a spry orangutan monkey. He helps me with my day-to-day. I see. Anyways, you said that he hadn't returned. Does this mean that he left you earlier in the night? Yes, I always like to explore large buildings like the Frega Manor. But he usually doesn't leave for that long. Does he typically ignore you like that? Sometimes. He's a young boy, so he likes to have his privacy. I try not to pry, and I was wary of what would happen if a noble or a knight came across him. He usually knows how not to bother people, but you never know what might happen. You left the gallery room? Yes, as I said, I was worried that something had happened to Eugene. Where did you go during your search? Eugene usually knows how to stay out of people's bedrooms, so I went downstairs and searched for him there. I checked the bathroom, the sitting room, and coat room. Then I finally checked the kitchen and pantry. He might have gone there to steal some snacks. But you didn't find him in any of those places. No, I didn't. If I recall correctly, the glass was completely shattered. This is despite the presence of several abjuration spells that protected it. Yes, it would have taken an extremely powerful spell to break it like that. As you saw, the glass display was shattered into shards. Unless Harold had a way to dispel that magic, a powerful mage must have destroyed it. Perhaps Harold had Beatrice shatter the glass before she went to the ballroom. The sword of spell eating makes its wielder immune to magical effects. What use would the lockdown have been? Honestly, not that much.
Zwilda would have had immune to anti-magic fields and the spells that prevented people from leaving. And at that point, the King's Guard just wanted to activate it for good measure. His statement just now is missing some details. What details should you ask him to elaborate on? How did you find the sword? How did you eventually find the sword of spell eating? The King's Guard and I slowly and carefully checked each room in the manor. After about an hour, we finally found the artifact under the bed in the defendant's room. It must have been where the tracker hides the sticks that he finds. Now that you think about it, he's probably the one who stole Celeste's sword in the first place. Anyways, this detail could be extremely important. Please add it to your testimony, witness. Harold. Yes, of course, Harold. He says that he went around the manor to look for Eugene. Do you think he's telling the truth? Maybe, but his so-called search for Eugene gave him a good excuse to not be seen by anyone. It's a decent alibi, not without its flaws. You just need to poke some holes in that alibi. Alright, let's see. They added here, as you probably know, the King's Guards found the sword of spell eating in the defendant's room. Let's see. Number 5, the artifact was missing, so I reported the crime at the ball, and a void activated discrete lockdown. Hold on. When did the lockdown happen? When did the lockdown happen? Let's see. It didn't show the time, though. Actually, present this?
Objection!
Oh, no, that's not gonna work. Maybe we could press him a bit more. What detail? Let's ask him about Eugene. How did you eventually find Eugene that night? After an hour of silence, he finally responded to my telepathic messages. He met up with me in the gallery before we went to search for the sword. So this would have been after the theft was reported. Yes. He would have had to pick up Eugene after he murdered Lord Freyga. This must have been the alibi they're using to account for the time that no one could see Eugene. Anyways, this detail could be extremely important. Please add it to your testimony, witness. Harold. Yes, of course, Harold. Alright, we already read that, though. Let's see. Eugene finally responded to my telepathic messages. I met him in the gallery room to find the... Was it in the gallery room? It wasn't. It wasn't, right? Wait, what is he talking about? Is he talking about the artifact? The artifact, where is the artifact? Wait, hold up. They found it in Beatrice's room, though.
Objection!
Oh, no. Let's see. We actually mention this?
Objection!
No, we can't mention the dog. Can't mention the doggo. Let me think a little bit more. So here's the thing. We know that Eugene was the one who very likely committed the murder. But yeah, I need to brainstorm a little bit more. Let me think a little bit more. Wait, hold up. Responded. I met him in the gallery room before they found the artifact. Wait. Hold up. Let's check the lockdown system. Yeah, if the lockdown system happened, it could be the thing, right? I don't know how I explain this correctly, but let's see. Oh, it is. Okay. Harold, you found Eugene before you went to search for the Sword of Spell Eating. This would mean that happened while the lockdown was still active. Am I correct? Yes, as much as I was worried about the artifact, Eugene's safety was far more important. That's the thing, Harold. You said after hours of silence, you finally received a telepathic message back from Eugene. What? So that leaves one question. How did you communicate with Eugene telepathically if you were both within an anti-magic field? What? Harold, in response to the theft, the King's Guard activated the lockdown system to prevent anyone from leaving. That same lockdown system would have placed an anti-magic field over every inch of that manor. That field should have suppressed the telepathic abilities given to you by familial bond. You wouldn't have been able to speak with Eugene at all. We got him there. Mr. Cuthbert, are you accusing the witness of lying in his testimony? Please, Cuthbert is blowing this entire thing out of proportion. Anti-magic field is a resource-intensive spell. You can't assume that they managed to cover every inch of the manor, especially the areas that would be only accessible but to a small animal. Miss Tamora, let's assume that Eugene managed to reach some sort of blind spot in the lockdown system. The magical telepathy granted by familial bond connects two people. Even if Eugene wasn't affected by the anti-magic field, Harold would be. That's very true. So how did I hear him that night? There's only one answer that makes sense, Harold. You did hear Eugene telepathically, because Eugene was wielding the Sword of Spell Eating. What? I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert. Are you saying that this Sword of Spell Eating was stolen by the witness's pet monkey? I am, Your Honor. It's the only way the witness's testimony makes sense. She doesn't have a rebuttal. You should push this while you have a chance. Harold Haroldson, you were the one who stole the Sword of Spell Eating, weren't you? And what reason would I have to steal something that already belongs to me? It was to take suspicion off of you, because you were the one who had William Frege killed. You staged a robbery and used the Sword of Spell Eating to make Eugene invisible. Then you sent him through the manor's ventilation system, all so you could have him murder William Frege in his study. Well done, Cuthbert. I suppose you can't just stop yourself from pursuing a lying witness. It's what I do best, Mr. Mora. Of course. Witness, do you have anything to say in your defense? It's quite obvious, but I completely refute the prosecutor's allegations. He's misguided, but he's just doing his job. You were expecting his thoughts to be as hostile as like before. Then do you also refute your statement about Eugene telepathically speaking with you? I know better than to lie on the stand to try to save myself. I can't explain how it happened, but I stand behind my testimony. Eugene did telepathically contact me during the lockdown. How did he do it? Wait, so he doesn't know how telepathic communication happened? Perhaps he overlooked it when he was planning the murder with Beatrice. And that's your position, Cuthbert? That the witness sent a monkey to murder William Frege? It may sound ridiculous. It's the only thing that makes sense. Or do you have evidence to refute that, Miss Timora? No, I fully and wholeheartedly agree with you, Cuthbert. Wait. Tyrion? Mr. Cuthbert, did you forget that you were prosecuting Beatrice Frege? Your Honor, even as a prosecutor, it's clear that Cuthbert can't stop himself from finding the true culprit. Wait! I also meant to say that the defendant conspired with the witness to commit the crime. Oh, really? And do you have proof of this conspiracy to commit? Oh, Of course you don't. But even so... But let's assume that you did have evidence to prove your statement. This was really a plot formed by my client and the witness. What would my client even contribute to this plan? What you've said, this plot was completely carried out by Lord Haraldson, is familiar. Well, the glass! He would have needed a powerful mage like the defendant to break the sword's display case and stage the robbery. So her contribution to the murder was breaking some glass. Can you prove that my client shattered the display case? And can you prove that she did so knowing that it would somehow lead her to her father's death? You might have gone a little too eager to prove Harold's guilt. The physical evidence against my client was almost non-existent in the first place. Meanwhile, it seems the prosecution has just brought physical evidence that implicates Lord Haraldson. Physical evidence that is supported by his own testimony. There has to be some explanation for this. Cuthbert, didn't you ask me something yesterday? If my client didn't kill the victim, then who did? I suppose I should thank you for finding the answer. Damn it. All you did was make it more difficult to prove your case. Harold has to be involved in this. You weren't wrong about that. Only Eugene would be small enough to traverse through the air vents. So isn't there anything else you can use? With the threat of indictment, Harold must be stressed. It's gotten you out of tight spots before. Maybe you can find the evidence in his mind. You can use every trick you have, Cuthbert. It won't help you. Ignore her. Calm your mind and focus the eye of Horus on him. You have to find something, anything, that might tie the murder to Beatrice.
Naught can remain concealed.
Empowered eye. Let's see. Okay. Let's talk about... excuse me. Let's talk about Beatrice's alibi. Oh no, that doesn't work. What about the man himself? It's truly a shame that Beatrice was driven to flee from her own family. If only I'd introduced myself to her. Perhaps we could have found a solution together. He doesn't know Beatrice? But how? She planned the murder with him. Unless... Okay, that's the same thing. Okay, not that one. Can't believe one of my artifacts was used to commit a murder. It's completely disrespectful to the culture and history behind it. What? He's speaking as if he truly had no hand in this. That can't be true, can it? Let's give him Eugene and see. Eugene, what were you doing that night? Did you really wield the sword? If only for a brief moment? Wait, should have known exactly where Eugene was that night. Why? Why would his thoughts say that? What? What is going on? He's speaking as if he really had no hand in this. You can guard yourself from the eye of Horus, but you can't lie to it. If that's true, you'd Are you wrong about Harold's involvement? Is he really innocent? See anything, Cuthbert? Your Honor, it's clear the prosecution has nothing left to argue. There's very little evidence implicating my client. There's far more likely suspect in front of us right now. Yes, I must agree, Miss Tamora. At the very least, I see no reason to prolong this trial any longer. Wait! Beatrice couldn't have personally done this. Discounting the fact that she's completely blind, she was with the two princes for most of the night. So who actually killed William Frege in his study? Think about this. The reason why you suspected Harold in the first place was because of what Tracker said. Tracker's vocabulary was primitive and limited, but he uses the word rat to describe small creatures that hide and act suspiciously. Alright, we actually read that, so... Tracker definitely saw some kind of animal. Excuse me. Was it someone else's familiar? Who did Tracker see in the air vent? Another familiar. No, it had to have been Eugene. Tracker found the sword in that hallway, and Eugene couldn't have communicated with Harold unless the sword protected both of them from the anti-magic field. But why? Did Eugene just happen to be in that hallway? Also doesn't explain why the sword of spell eating was even there. No. Tracker said that Eugene came out of the air vent on one side of the hallway, then fled into the air vent on the other side. Even for a small monkey, those vents would be extremely cramped. Couldn't have entered those vents out of mere curiosity. Why was Eugene in the air vents? You now know that Harold didn't participate in the murder. But did he know about what Eugene was doing that night? Eugene was acting out of their own free will. Eugene was acting out of his own free will. That's the explanation that makes the most sense. How? And why? Harold is the only person that is magically connected to Eugene. And even if Beatrice somehow got Eugene to follow her orders, she wouldn't have been able to direct his actions telepathically. Beatrice couldn't have used any other conjuration spell to contact him either. She was also in the anti-magic field when she was with Aster. So if Eugene was the one who murdered William Frege, is he acting independently? No, it can't be possible. How could Eugene have carried out this plan independently? This plan required knowledge of Frege Manor's ventilation system. Also involved William during the lockdown and destroying his will. Eugene might be smart for a monkey, but a normal monkey wouldn't have known how to identify and destroy William's will. Even if Beatrice had somehow trained him to do all this beforehand. Beatrice... Ah, yes, so the armbands of intellect were also stolen. So maybe he's the one who took it too. Oh, okay. Wait, that? No. Beatrice? Oh, yeah, so I was right, but I chose the wrong one, right? Yes. No. It could be. Discovers that the armbands of intellect has been stolen as well. But unlike the sword of spell eating, we still haven't found the armbands. Look at the glass case where the armbands used to be. The thief didn't shatter the glass. Moreover, the armbands were actually replaced with a very well-made replica. The magical locks on the case can be disabled. How are they normally disabled? Second be turned on or off using a spoken password. Many people know this password. Only myself. I practically oversee the transport of these items when they are moved. Only Harold knows the password. Someone could have overheard him saying it. Someone that's constantly looking over his shoulder. You made some ridiculous statements in the past. There's no way the judge will even entertain this theory. Have to be smart about this. Your Honor, I think there's one more witness that can clear up this discrepancy once and for all. I believe he can prove the prosecution's case to the court. Really? I find that hard to believe. Please trust me, Your Honor. There's an element to this that we all aren't seeing. And it's one that no one will believe. What are you planning? What do you have planned now? Very well, I'll give you one last chance, Mr. Cuthbert. But know that if your next witness fails to unveil any new information, I won't hesitate to end this trial. I understand, Your Honor. So I'm going to need you to bear with me for a moment. Why? Your Honor, the defense calls Eugene Haraldson to the stand. Never mind. I retract my earlier statement. I'll be passing the verdict. Wait! Just bear with me for a moment. Mr. Cuthbert, I should find you in contempt for even suggesting this. You honestly think I'll allow a monkey to give testimony in my courtroom? Yeah, sounds pretty out there, even for us. I'd like to remind the court of the nature of Harold's bond with Eugene. Eugene is the familiar. That means that Harold Haraldson can speak with him telepathically. But this is absolutely... Show me the law that an animal can't give testimony, Your Honor. May be unprecedented, but it's not against the law. Very well. Your Honor, you can't be serious right now. Are you actually going along with this? Oh, Miss Tamora, I'm looking for any possible reason not to entertain this. But Mr. Cuthbert has a point. There are no laws against this proposal. I have no choice but to oblige his frankly insane actions for now. Well, I guess that it doesn't matter. It's not as if they will reveal anything. I can't believe I'm saying this, but bailiff, please escort Lord Haraldson's monkey to the stand. Witness, please state your name and occupation to the court. Yeah, you guys heard of a kangaroo court? Well, now it's a primate court. I could do without the sarcasm, Miss Tamora. Bailiff, make sure the stenographer gets Haraldson's translations. Ugh. Can't see the armbands on him right now. He must be at his normal intelligence now. Although, he would be... How would he be even wearing them? Perhaps he held them in his hands. They only require physical contact, after all. Eugene, did you steal from the gallery on the night of the murder? Eugene never steal from Harold. Eugene respect Harold. Then you have no problem testifying about where you went during the Lord's Ball. I can't believe I let you convince me to permit this. Eugene explore house. Eugene looked for a new place to play. Eugene also looked for spiders. Spiders, yum yum. You think Eugene steal armbands of intellect? Eugene never steal from Harold. Harold friend. Eugene always Harold friend. Apes strong together. Wow, you did it, Cuthbert. You blew this case wide open. Is that really going to help us? Look, you just have to trust me on this. I trust you? Sentence sounds like a question at the end. Alright, let's see. Let me think about this a little bit more. Alright, let's see. Hey, you still on? Is the monkey the criminal? We'll have to wait and see. But Harold is an associate of House Frege. Surely you visited Frege Manor before that night. Manor consistently changes. William always doing renovations. There's always a new discovery to be made. Suppose that makes sense. They certainly had the goal for it. Anyways, what else did you do that night, Eugene? Eugene also looked for spiders. Spider yum yum. You enjoy eating spiders? Spiders good. Rich in nutrients. Wait, really? Some cultures in the Eastern Kingdoms eat roasted crickets. Tried them. They're actually not bad if they're prepared directly. Don't think I could ever be that adventurous. We please stay on topic. I wasn't accusing you of anything, Eugene. Perhaps you accidentally unlocked the case and took them thinking they were some sort of toy. This could all be an honest mistake. Eugene, not dum-dum. Do you know how to import artifacts are to Harold and Eugene? Eugene never take from him. You might have not knowingly done it, but perhaps you took one of the artifacts by accident. Eugene never do that. Then how would you explain your brief contact with the Sword of Spell Eating? Harold couldn't have telepathically contacted you unless one of you was wielding it. Eugene do not understand question. Right. You won't understand how the sword works without his heightened intelligence. Unless... Okay, let's press. Do you consider yourself close to Harold? I would guess so. They literally have a magic connection with each other. Right. I suppose the bond between a mage and his familiar would require a lot of trust. Harold saved Eugene from bad man years ago. Endgame would never betray. Okay. So you're a rescue. Harold, take Eugene away from that prison. Lock up bad man. He seems to genuinely care for Harold. I'm watching and read a manhwa at the same time. Ooh, productive multitasking. He seems to gradually care for Harold. Could that be why he did this? Certainly feels indebted to him. This might have been his motive. Tyrion? I know it looks bad. But I swear there's more to this than meets the eye. If you say so, there has to be something in his statements. He had to have been wearing the armbands on the night of the murder, which thought reveals that. Think about how Tracker spoke. Is there anything different from the way Eugene is speaking right now? Which one shall we go for? Giving it a bit of a think. Hold on.
Objection!
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Eugene, I asked you before if you stole anything from Harold's gallery. Eugene, no. Eugene would never steal from Harold. Cuthbert, don't waste our time by having him repeat that statement. That's the thing, Miss Timora. That's not the same statement testimony. Wait, that's a statement he made in his testimony. I asked the witness if he stole an artifact from the gallery. I never mentioned the armbands of intellect. What are you talking about now? The witness lacks the understanding to differentiate between the artifacts. It was clearly just a simple mistake. It's not just the fact that he named the wrong artifact, Miss Tamora. It's the fact that he has used it. That she uses it. No, it's the fact that he used it is actual marine, I guess. I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean, Mr. Cuthbert. Okay. Even when you're a little telepathic, Link is established. The vocabulary is extremely limited. It's hard to understand what he really meant. Exactly, so that raises questions. Born? How did he know? These armbands were stolen during the Lord's Ball and were replaced with a well-made replica. Where are the armbands of intellect right now? Okay, let's see. Which one shall we go for? Okay, let's see. Just a moment. Where is the game? Eugene is wearing... I'm pretty sure he has the armbands on. Can't be. Is he really? The armbands were designed to be worn by humans, so Eugene couldn't wear them on his arms. So where would he wear them? She thought he carried them in his hands. There's a far simpler explanation. Eugene, do you still maintain a signal that doesn't require... Eugene, do you still maintain that you didn't steal any of the armbands of an intellect? Eugene told you already. Eugene never steal from Harold. And I suppose you wouldn't mind by taking off your hat. Are you serious right now? You don't think he's wearing them right now, do you? It's the only thing that makes sense. Eugene did not steal the armbands that night. He would have never... If Eugene did indeed steal the armbands that night, he would have never had the opportunity to return them. He had no choice but to continue wearing them until the investigation was over. How utterly ridiculous. You're spinning a fairy tale. Do you honestly believe us that a monkey increased its intellect beyond human limits? I'm wrong. then the witness can easily refute my theory by removing his hat. Well, what's gonna be you, Eugene? You see him fully break characters, and he slowly but silently lifts his hat. No, you can't be serious. Everyone can see it plainly. He was wearing the armbands like a crown around his tiny head. Out of his hat, you see him pulling out something else.
Well done, Mr. Cuthbert. I should have underestimated you.
Are you serious?
This is probably a blessing in disguise. I don't think I could bear debasing myself any longer.
Objection.
Objection, Your Honor. On what grounds, Mr. Mora? What grounds? Everything about this situation is objectionable. It's downright absurd. Is he seriously Beatrice's accomplice? But Mr. Mora can't deny what's clearly in front of us. I was not ready for today. How is he even talking right now? Scholars believe that humans and apes evolved from a common ancestor. Perhaps all apes can speak the common language under the right circumstances.
Involved? Please. I've observed your society. I think calling humanity evolved is being quite generous.
This can't be happening.
Well, are you all done gawking at me like a bunch of simpletons?
Simpletons? Wait a minute. It's quite difficult to separate myths. Oh, it's Harold. It's quite difficult to separate myths from actual historical accounts. Right. I remember encountering a similar problem at the Imperial Academy. I must be quite dedicated to your studies.
Well, it's a simpleton for the Imperial Academy.
Rude. You suppose you can't be helped. Every insult I thought that you heard from Harold, you weren't Harold's thoughts at all. They were Eugene's thoughts. He's been wearing the armband since you first met. But I still don't understand. Why would you even take the armbands in the first place?
I'll admit that the Lord's Ball was one of my many occasions. The first time I touched them was due to sheer chance.
You put them on by accident?
My unawakened self was enamored by its glittering sheen. I merely wanted to touch them, but when I first had them in my hands, I experienced a sense of clarity that I'd never felt before. I was afraid of what I'd experienced, so I left them alone. As I returned to my primitive lifestyle, I couldn't stop thinking about what I felt that day.
You were hooked.
I wouldn't quite phrase it like that, but I suppose you're not wrong. I already knew the password to Harold's vault. I'd come from time to time to indulge in the armband's power. But the more time I spent with my awakened intellect, the more I craved its power when I had to put them away.
And that's when you made the replica.
While no one was watching, I devised the plan to discreetly take the armbands. Harold would have eventually discovered they were stolen, but he would have concluded that a noble from the Lord's ball took them.
I said balls, oh no. Because of the pressure that he was receiving from the crown.
I'm not proud of what I've done, but I never expected things to reach this point. I expect someone to steal the sword to spare eating as well. I certainly didn't expect a murder to happen that night.
So you still maintain that you're innocent?
Of course I do. I stole the armbands. But I did not murder William Freya, nor did I take the sword of spell eating. Allow me to elaborate. I'll admit I took the armbands and replaced them with a replica. I was not the crook who stole the sword of spell eating. The thefts were completely different from one another. The display case for the sword was completely shattered. I spotted the sword when I was exploring the manor. It was lying in the middle of a hallway. I wondered why such an important artifact would be lying there, so I took a closer look to inspect it. That's when I heard Harold call out to me telepathically. The sword must have protected me and Harold from the anti-magic field. I wanted to take the sword and return it. A wild dog chased me away from the scene.
He has a point. You didn't need to shatter the display case of the sword. Yeah, he already knew the passwords. But Trager said that Eugene was the one who dropped the sword. Furthermore, he escaped out of the air vent that led into William's study. His actions that night were definitely not as innocent as his testimony implies. He must have lied somewhere. Alright, hold on. Let's see. I can actually save here. And yeah, it's getting a little bit late. I wanted to finish the case tonight, but I think it's going to take a little bit longer than I expected. So yeah, I'm have to call it here, everybody. And yeah, this case is certainly going places. Certainly going places. We're now involving the monkey. Who probably potentially could have been part of the murder. But we'll have to see next time. And how we managed to figure out his testimony. But yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching live or via the archives. Tomorrow I will be taking a break, but I'll probably have the schedule out soon. It'll be out on the usual places: Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube community post, and the Discord. But yeah, hope you all have a great night, evening, or afternoon, and I will see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye. Take care, everybody.